Today we've got an Audioline 341 on the bench. It's one I bought as a radio rally. A potential customer, said to me, I'm going to do him a nice set for a fixed price. So I've dug this one out. I've got two Audioline 341s, and he can choose whichever one he likes. And whichever one he does like, we'll get the super expensive £100 vinyl wrapped cabinet, which was done as a demonstration by our friend Simon, fellow radio ham, who operates from up at Holmfirth, last of the summer wine country. And he's not offering this as a service, and has done it as a demonstration, but you never know, he probably could be persuaded. But it's very time consuming and was very expensive, but he's done it for us as a demonstration, as a freebie, so that will be passed on to this customer at no expense whatsoever. Right, anyone knows what my pen's gone? We've done the cyanide meter kit from Noxyman. Just needs a lining, so I think it's the 12th today. So two of these, 270, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, they're both bought from radio rallies, separate radio rallies, and this one had some of the capacitors changed, like one of the 470s, the notorious 220 there, and some others, but it wasn't working. And it worked on PA, and when I held my walkie-talkie up and listened on transmit, I could hear a few inches. So I knew the phase lock loop chip was okay. And it's not being messed with. This isn't a set that's had things done to it, in inverted commas. So, we'll call this set number 1. I'm not going to show you the service on set number 2, unless you all request it, unless a lot of people want me to do that, because it's the same thing again, isn't it? So this was not working, but as soon as we've changed all the capacitors, it is working. So what does that tell us? Well, Mr. Chippie took those capacitors out and changed them. We checked each one. One of the 470s had turned to 100 and something, and some of the all the 22s had turned to 10. You know, so this one was one of the worst, and it's in this doubler circuit, so you're just not going to have transmit or receive without that working. So this is going to have been messed with. The tuning's going to be, by that I mean with the tuning, so because somebody's had a good go at trying to sort it out. So I'm in my 3-watt mode. We'll switch picture in picture on, and let's see what happens on transmit 1 channel 20. Oh, well, that was a good start, 3.4 watts. .9, 2.5. Back to channel 20. Notice it's had some holes drilled in the channel selector switch at some point. That is okay, because it's the only way you can really get switch cleaner in. So if this has been in a previous smoking environment, somebody's done that and the channel selector switch works. So as long as you do it with the vacuum cleaner, see sucking as you're drilling, but that isn't a detriment. It's not mice or woodworm or termites. So column transmit current 890 milliamps, and low power. That was low tone. Low power is doing 320 milliwatts. So we'll look at we'll just see what the deviation is on this test set, and then move to the one. Wall. 2.2. So on the face of it, that would be right. And the VCO, because we don't know the story behind the radio, we will do the VCO. Apart from I brought it to the radio rally. We're going to test both of these sets, one after the other, on the air test. So he'll go out with set A, he'll come back, and then he'll go out on exactly the same direction with set number B. We don't ever have him come in the opposite direction because the range changes. So it's that resistor, isn't it? Go for channel 40. Supposed to be 4. So you can see these waxes being disturbed. Covered this time and time again, of course, on all these sets. .93 will do me. You're then supposed to do the other one with an oscilloscope on test point 2, but we'll do it with the synod meter because that's the receive one later. But that was quite near enough, it wasn't a problem. So I keep saying we're trying to get to the, when we're turning these, we're trying to not just get the peak, but the centre of the peak. I need to be back on channel 20. So we were at the peak where it was, but not at the centre of the peak. That's how you get lopsidedness. That appears to be in the correct position. And on these sets, oh, that's not got wax in it. I think this is another of the transmit ones. It is. On the Cybernet set, that coil position is on receive. That's in the centre. Wow, that's a scary amount of power. It's doing 8 watts. And then we drop it to 4. With this coil. Which I'm having difficulty moving. No, it's going to have to be the other way. You know what? I'm still on low power, aren't I? wasn't doing 8 watts at all. And there we are, dead on the 4. So let's just make sure I've not messed that up. Channel 40, 4.05. Channel 1, 3.95. I would like it to be a bit more balanced. May not be possible. Back to 20. Yeah, we've got 4 at 20. We've got 4 at 40. And we've got like 3.99 at at channel 1. So while we're on full power, we'll set the meter. Back to channel 20 first. Centre of the red zone. Current consumption now 977 milliamps, and low power is now 700 milliwatts, not 7 watts like I thought I was misreading. Set low power. Possibly a dirty preset, that. .410 milliwatts, it doesn't want to be on 400. So we'll come back to deviation. Frequency. Now these aren't adjustable. So they're either in spec or they're not in spec. Oh, this is spot on. So it should be 27,79125. It's 120. So that's so close. That's great. Test gear's been on 2 hours. So we'll make sure our signal generator is set up to that. 27,79125. I'm just going to drop it to the 120 so we're not doing anything lopsided. So we're on the cyanide meter. The next thing we'll do is we'll look at it on the oscilloscope with 100 microvolts. And we'll see where the detector is. And the IF. Do that later. What I haven't done is written the 4 figures down. So the moment course, if we'd have shown you this before it was recapped, it would have been a very different story. Oh, it wasn't working, so I couldn't show it you. So 0.82 is good for one of these. They're never as sensitive as the Cybernet sets, but your noise floor's so great, it doesn't matter anyway. .4. I think we'll hopefully improve that. It's not the end of the world, but I hope we'll improve it. Squelch. Squelch. Let's see where full squelch is. 10, 30, 100, 100. So it is at the moment 900 millivolts. I like it to be 100 millivolts, but it's not the end of the world. And the threshold is 2.4, which isn't good enough. So there's probably something out in the IF causing that, which is why we've got a high 20 dB as well. So we'll now go over to the Synad meter and put it to about 4 dB. That one was spot on where it was. That seems to have got wax in. So that was slightly out. Just going to recheck that because they're interactive. That's tight. I think we've had the wax expert. I'll put a bit more signal on as we do the IFs, intermediate frequencies for those not familiar. Well, that was spot on as well. That looks to be right. I'm just going to recheck this at the detector. Right, let's see what if we've got a new Synad figure. You know, there was only one little adjustment there, but the little fraction here and there can make all the difference. So let's see what's happened. Unless it's worse. So for 12 dB, we've got 0.82. For 10 dB, at 0.7. For 20 dB, we've got 2.2. Squelch time. Full squelch. Signal generator to 100 microvolts. And let's get this signal generator coming through. Squelch presets there. So that works exactly how I want it to. I'll show you the attenuator. It's 100 microvolts, 30 it's squelch is coming in, 100 it's on, which is brilliant. So now I'm thinking our sensitivity on squelch will be absolutely correct. I like it to be 1 microvolt or less. I'm putting that in the wrong box, 100 microvolts. So that's now correct. So the signal generator is on standby, parks at 0.3 of a microvolt. Let's move that camera very slightly. And now we set this threshold on the radio. And bring the signal generator back on. 0.93. So that's excellent now. So though we haven't seen more sensitivity, it's sorted out the squelch potential snag there at 2.4 microvolts. So we know it's right now. So while we are looking at that, let's have a look at the signal meter, which should now read S9. It's just shy of S9. Let's see what it needed to get to S9. It was 160 microvolts. So we'll go back to 100 and set the meter for S9. Right, so that just leaves us to do deviation. May as well turn that off because you can't see the test set behind me. Now this gentleman's got a speech thing, and I'm going to set the deviation a tiny bit higher. Now as you know, deviation is width, it isn't volume. But I'm going to let it peak at 2.7 because of his whisper. Whichever one of these he doesn't buy, we'll readjust. Right, here goes. Wow, it's 2.2 exactly as it said. So with a peak of 2.2, we need to just bring that up a bit. So normally we'd let it peak at 2.5, but just for this gentleman it's going to be 2.7. The other alternative is to use a really high quality speech processor mic, but you're adding speech processing to a radio with speech processing. Wow. So let's just see where his mic gain is to get 2.5. Wow. Oh, I've come disconnected. Rah. So you can have all, the mic gain all the way down there. So if it was halfway, it's kind of normal, and then if he's whispering, it'll just have it a little bit higher. So the danger is, without ruining my thing, you've got the carrier there, and you've got this the audio within that, and if it's like that, it's going to be too quiet. If it's doing the full 2.5 peak, it's going to be the volume which is possible. If you go beyond that, these are getting cut off by the filtering in good quality sets. Now, if you're listening on a Fidelity 1000, you can put 7 kilohertz deviation on and be transmitting at 3 channels at once. Fidelity 1000, think, hey, that's great, it's getting louder. But with anything with any filtering, including these, and especially with all the newer sets with crystal filters, then it just chops. And the other thing is, the more filtering you have, the worse people are who are off frequency. So it isn't a volume thing. Once you've got to that the top, it starts to cut off. So fat man through a small gap, don't I know? Right. So Marconi test set wasn't lying today. And we'll just check it. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll come back to this later. I'll do something else and we'll put the case on this. Right, back onto this and we'll see whether the speaker actually works. Right, see which way round this is. That's not negative. That is negative. Right, well, unplug the extension speaker and fingers crossed. Now I've got my power going in there at the moment. Yes, it does work, that's good. Right, so this is this expensively recovered speaker. Speaker lid, the whole case. One of the things which he was worried about was where it's domed, and it's absolutely fine. He sent new screws. I'll unplug the test gear. So, although this is the set I intend the customer to have, if he wants to have the other one, which we'll show on the air test, I'll swap the cases over and make sure the deviation is also specially set for his snag. I'll probably edit out me putting all these screws in, or you'll be sat there forever. Right, so I haven't cleaned the front. It's slightly misty, this plastic. Got to clean. We'll take the knobs off and clean them. We'll clean the front, but this, considering this had holes in it which had been I can't remember if they were filled or not filled. You know, it just turns a 40-year-old set into something. He was concerned about where it's domed. So that is absolutely splendid. I'll read his letter in a moment. What we'll just do is put it on our aerial. So they'll be on the air test later, but I'll have to do the other set first because I need to do both the on the air test together. This will be supplied with a new power lead for the customer. One niner, Roger. We're on low power. One niner, Roger.
You get 13 or 14 today, mate. It's on rest of the week. You get same. You get more or less same 12 foot every day. You're going to fucking end up with 700 quid, aren't you? End of week. That's right. I'm off Friday anyway, aren't I?
19 Roger. Okay, so that's working nicely as we would expect. So complete recap. So lots of money's worth of work together, but so this potential customer, he doesn't have to have either. But it seemed to be that somebody requesting a set, which was nice, can take advantage of that demonstration. I'll just pop my address off the top. Right. Dear Richard, please find enclosed 2 case halves for the Audioline 341 and he says, blame my ADHD. Cases have been stripped of the old covering. Now, if you remember, those are a plastic case kind of stuff, and on this set there was corrosion towards the back and it had lifted. So case has been stripped of the old covering with a cut brush on a grinder. It seems aggressive, but the original covering is tough. Cases were then shot blasted in a blast cabinet to offer a nice key for the paint and to remove the last trace of corrosion. The reason they corrode on the edge is the base material appears to be Zintek, or a 19 equivalent of. It's a mild steel with a zinc plating on either side to offer protection against corrosion. The case is then stamped out from the sheet, leaving the edges of the panel bare with no corrosion protection. After stripping and blasting, the cases were cleaned with panel wipe and then aerosol etch primed. Etch primer contains acid which will bite into the substrate and make sure the primer adheres to the surface properly and offer a good base for the next layer. Case was then given a waff of satin black to seal. Primer is porous and doesn't offer any protection from water. Now note on the mess that is on the inside of the cases. I haven't even noticed. There's a bit of paint spatter. Is that right? Well, there we go. After the cases were painted, I covered the cases with an automotive exterior grade textured black vinyl, starting at one edge and working slowly across, to not get either air bubbles or dust under the vinyl. Once the covering is on, then it's been trimmed back with a fresh scalpel. Here lies the problem. Obviously, this then removes some of the paint from the edges of the bare steel. So the biggest faff is cutting the speaker holes with a scalpel, and it's tedious. But once those holes in the speaker mounting screws were done, I heated up the area a little with a hot air gun to soften the suspended vinyl, and then used gentle thumb pressure to push the vinyl into the pockets for the speaker screws. Whilst the area was hot, I also pressed around the speaker grill to get rid of any of the raggy edges on the speaker grill. So just to turn it upside down. So he was concerned that these domed parts may come up a bit. And he's cut all those holes with a scalpel. I cut out the screw holes, but I've left the mic bracket holes covered. We don't want those, do we? No, we don't. I thought it looked tidy, but if you want to uncover them, that's simply a case of running a scalpel around the hole. I've included in the package a sample of the vinyl for you to have a look at. And it's put in 20 6mm M3 screws. I'll start again. 20 M3 6mm screws, because on these sets they're not black, they're supposed to be shiny like these are. There's no way people would pay for the amount of time I've spent on this. It's easily had a couple of hours of it at £55 an hour. You see, he's automotive, he doesn't work at minimum wage. Plus that, and I could of course be earning this, and it's not economically viable. So he's done this totally as a freebie, as a demonstration from himself and as a demonstration to me. And he's also asked me to send in one with a louvered bottom, like you get on a Maxcom 4E. So I'll find one out which is also similarly scruffy. The idea wasn't to send him a pristine one and then have him cover it. It was to send him a ropey one. He's done marvels with this. We whatever could probably do a video on how this was done, and maybe sell small patches of the vinyl for people to do it themselves. And I can let you know the source of the vinyl if need be. So, you know, obviously you can't add £100 onto the price of a second-hand CB radio to do this, but it's lovely as a demonstration. And if the gentleman chooses to have this set, then he gets this fantastic one-off pristine covering. And as I say, if he chooses to have the other set which we've got, which I will show on the air test, then we'll swap the lids over. So whichever set he has, he gets this vinyl covered one. I'm kind of intrigued in trying a louvered case, because that's going to be a bit of a faff. Well, I think that was a bit of a faff, and that's from Simon, and he runs an automotive place in where I just said, near Honley, Holmfirth, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching the Audioline 341 full recap and adjusted spot on for our potential customer.